Welcome to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy, and today we're going to tell you about Lauren Kidd.
Don't forget to smash that like button and go and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Facebook. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends.
This is a local and a recommendation. A friend we have went to school with some people from this case, so they told us to look into it, and I was kind of surprised that it didn't have more coverage. It has some, that's good, but it always hits closer to home, literally, when you know the areas that you're talking about. We have been to these areas and stores. So let's start at the beginning with this one.
And I'll tell you what, this weekend's been like a really productive weekend. My buddy came over with his girlfriend, and, we talked about the Brianna case.
Heavily.
And then you guys started kind of talking about this one, which this one right here, I kind of tuned out a little bit so I could actually be the Brianna one. I couldn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you get worked up when you start hearing some of the shit that came out of Brianna.
But this one right here, it was more between you and Kate. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But.
Now in 1992, Krista, Lauren's mom, moved to Tulsa with her 3-year-old son, Joshua, and started working for a real estate rental agency in a residential complex. This complex had a fitness center, which is where she met Joe and fell in love. As a single mom, it is important that any partner you pick is a good fit for you and your child. And that was not a problem here. Joe loved Joshua as his own, so they became a family. And then on December 5th of 1996, they grew that family when Lauren was born. All was well. But in 1999, the company that Krista and Joe worked for declared bankruptcy, so they lost their jobs. And they started doing odd jobs until they could find something a little more steady. And that is what caused the family to pack up and move to Phoenix, Arizona.
Got to go where it works at.
Yeah, times is hard. And this is absolutely not a problem for Lauren. She had always been outgoing and adventurous, even as a young kid. She loved seeing mountains because it's not like we don't have mountains here in Oklahoma. They just aren't big. We have big hills, basically.
We got mountains.
Not like mountains.
We got mountains. Got Bigfoot in those mountains.
We might have a Bigfoot, but we don't have big mountains. When Lauren was 4 years old, she started playing soccer as the goalie. She loved it. And then in 2002, Krista got pregnant again, so they decided to move back to Oklahoma. They moved to Broken Arrow to be closer to Joe's family, and they had another baby boy, Dustin. But they didn't stop there. In 2005, they had another boy named Tyler. Now, I've seen some online comments on this case, and people seem to focus on this a lot, saying, oh, you're having money problems, so you have 4 kids, choosing to talk shit about the parents instead of the real issue in this case.
And that's the problem with like online and everything is like,
yeah,
you're always big and bad when you're behind a keyboard.
Keyboard warriors. Yeah.
A lot of people, they just want to share their story and everything else. And we get some people sometimes, that kind of do that, but it's just like.
Are you listening to what we're talking about?
Do you listen do you fall into the trap and run down that rabbit hole of all the comments and everything? Or do you just like, yeah, that's cool and just move on?
Thank you for your opinion.
You know
Next.
what I mean? It's just one of them deals, but.
Yeah. So before you go down that road on this one, try to remember to focus on what's really going on here. Most people have struggles. And it sounded like they had a decent support system. So we're going to tell you about Lauren's story.
And that's what we're here for.
Exactly. So we are in 2009, and Lauren is experiencing mental health issues. So she was taken to the doctor. She was diagnosed with ADHD and put on medication. She became withdrawn and distanced herself from her family and friends. And she'd always been close to her grandfather, but he got swine flu and passed away. Lauren took that very hard. She started self-harming. Krista was big on recording the kids and their lives. Now, this was pre-TikTok and Instamoms, so she was just one of those parents that like to make home movies. But when Krista saw what was going on, she would video Lauren's arms for several days in a row, checking to see if there were any new marks and trying to figure out what to do. Finally, the family found out that Lauren had been hanging out with a new group of friends. When alone with one of these friends that she did not know very well, she was coerced into unwanted sexual acts. And she had kept this from her family the whole time. If you don't know the problem, it's hard to get help for it. But now they know. So they started psychotherapy sessions, and she was put on more suitable medications. So her mental health started improving. She started socializing more and made new friends.
Getting the right treatment can make the world of difference.
A world of difference.
And that's how it is. I mean, but the whole thing is too, is that you got to want to get help,
Well, as a kid though, she's a young teenager, so
Oh, I already know.
they don't really talk to their parents.
We had two.
Exactly.
We had two of them.
Several
plus-
of them actually.
Yeah, we had several of them, and it was hard to get them to talk. It was just like,
Yeah.
can't help you if you don't say something.
Yeah. So she finally said something, and boom. Help.
Yeah,
Help.
exactly. That's
And-
why, and that's why it brings my point is that you have to want it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, she definitely needed it, and I'll tell you that. I'm glad she got it. In 2012, Lauren was introduced to Zach, a skater boy. They hung out as friends, but eventually became a couple. Zach made her happy, and he quickly became part of the family. He was decent to Lauren and treated her younger brothers like they were his nephews too, which is good because Lauren loved her brothers. When they were younger, she treated them like her own personal baby dolls. So this was a good thing.
Now wait a minute. When you said that she treated them like baby dolls, was it like whenever my sister took Donovan
And dressed him up.
and dressed him up and everything, sent me pictures of him, and
Probably, yeah, there was probably some
I
of
think
that.
it was more Christy and Hannah.
It was. It was.
But,
It was.
You
Hannah
know.
thought that was great.
but
Yeah. No, so there was probably some of that, but she also treated them like they were her babies. So
I
she would
gotcha.
play like she was mom.
I guess.
Krista was at work one day and Joe came home from work for lunch and said Lauren and some friends were carrying out boxes of Lauren's stuff. She said she was moving out and there was nothing they could do about it. She was in the middle of her senior year of high school, but she was 18 and she was going to get an apartment with Zach and they were going to get married and be a family. Joe and Krista didn't know how to handle this. Lauren had been doing so well, so if they pushed too hard, it could cause issues. They talked to her about how this would affect school, and she guaranteed them that she was definitely going to finish school. But they couldn't help but think that something besides young love was driving this rush to be a family. So Krista talked Lauren into going to the doctor in February, and it was confirmed that she was pregnant. And she had Addison in March of 2015, so a month later. Both families supported the young couple, and Lauren was able to graduate high school just a couple months after she had Addison.
That's good to hear. She was so close. It would have been sad if she didn't finish it out.
Yeah, and it happens. We see it a lot. But we also see a lot of people who they have the support that allows them to continue, and that's great. Lauren and Zach went on to get married in July of 2016. They went to Branson on their honeymoon and went to Silver Dollar City.
Nice.
Been there. It's a fun amusement park, but every day is leg day at Silver Dollar City.
Oh, man. Everything.
Since you're out in them hills.
When you go downhill, it's no big deal. But
Coming back up.
the day as soon as you want to leave, it's just like you look up and you're like, fuck.
They're like, let's go to this ride, the kids. And we're like, oh my God, it's up there.
Yeah. And then they want to go back down and go to the other ride. So then we go back down. They're like, now I want to go to this ride. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Your legs are screaming by
Yeah.
the time you're done.
You sleep for 2 days.
Maybe we're just old. But the year didn't end the same way that it started. By October of that year, Lauren was struggling mentally, something a lot of stay-at-home moms do. She loves being home with the baby, but she's still dealing with her own struggles too, and she was wanting to get back out in the world, get back to work. She wanted to be around people. Now hear me out. When you struggle with things that attack you mentally, it's not usually a quick fix. This is a constant battle, and Lauren is still fighting. She was making Facebook posts about the monotony of day-to-day life of being home with the baby. To help in the meantime, in 2017, they decided to get a bigger apartment and split it with another couple that they were friends with, Connor Bruner and Alexander Finley. Of course, at the beginning, everything was great.
It always is starting that way.
Yeah.
Doesn't always end that way.
No.
But, our kids did it. And I told them, I was like, don't do it.
Oh, yeah. Don't move in together.
I was like, don't do it. And they said, oh, no, it'll be fine.
It'll be great.
It'll be great. It's going to be
Mm.
awesome. They had it all planned out and everything. I guess they wrote it all down, planned it all out and
Had a
everything.
plan, yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess
Did not work out.
somebody threw that plan away. I was like, man, I told y'all.
Yeah. Tried to tell you.
Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but
Been there, done that. No.
yeah, it's just one of them things. It's like, I was y'all's age. I did it, and I know it doesn't work.
Sometimes it does. I moved in with
Yeah.
Darren and never left. So what do you know?
Yeah, but I mean, but think of the people that I had with me before that.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah. Not everybody's the same. In May,
I'm just lucky that my roommate, you've lasted 26 years. So, I mean, that's
I didn't
great.
move in as a roommate. Oh, that's hilarious.
You literally moved into my room.
I did. I was a room
and never
mate.
left.
Never left.
Yeah.
You probably tried to evict me a couple times. In May, Lauren got a job at a vape shop, but her mental health did not improve. She dyed her hair dark and started wearing dark clothes. Now, tangent time. Why is this always a sign? You can't say that it's the change from norm that it's the issue, because I never hear people say, oh, she was struggling. You can tell because she started wearing hot pink. So what the fuck? I wear black all the time. It's my favorite color.
Are you okay?
Stop blaming the black.
But what do you always say to people when they ask about always wearing black?
That's on the outside should match the inside. But that's not because I'm struggling. It's because I'm morbid. There's a difference.
So, are you okay?
I'm
You
fine.
feeling okay?
Yeah.
Let me check. No, she's good.
Oh my God. Dr. Darren is on it, y'all.
Yeah, just making sure.
Okay.
Need your coffee?
I got it right here.
Okay.
But anyways, she also was having issues in her relationship with Zach. Then Connor and Alexandra broke up, so Alexandra moved out. Lauren was still struggling with depression, and it was only a few months later that Lauren told Zach that she was in love with Connor. They had bonded over their relationship issues with Alexandra and Zach. So Zach moved out and back in with his mom and filed for divorce. In September of 2017, the divorce was final, and they decided on a shared custody plan for Addison. I believe it was 1 week on, 1 week off kind of situation. He and Lauren had actually been getting along better, but he knew that Connor had an addiction to drugs. Next thing he knew, Lauren was smoking marijuana, and they were having parties in the apartment, getting deeper and deeper into the lifestyle. By the fall of 2018, Lauren and Connor weren't doing so well. They were spending a lot of time partying. Lauren made a new friend, Shayna, and there's not a lot out there about her except that she seemed to be involved in a lot of dangerous situations.
Well, that's not going to help.
No. And the couple started doing harder drugs. Lauren and Connor were always breaking up and getting back together until they finally broke up for good. Lauren started up a new Facebook page under an alter ego, which was heavy on the goth, and regularly talked about DID, dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. She claimed to have 4 different personalities. In October of 2018, Lauren was supposed to call when she got off work for her mom to come and pick her up for her brother's birthday party. But instead, Lauren was dropped off at her mom's house by Connor. Since Connor had put hands on Lauren more than once, and they had such a bad history, Krista tried talking to Lauren, but it turned into an argument, and Lauren left, slamming the door. Later, she was with her friend Blake. Lauren had met Blake through the vape shop where he was a customer. He had came in actually to buy something for a friend for a birthday, and they started up a friendship. He said that Lauren had him drop her off at a gas station to meet a tattoo artist named Mike West. And they had been designing a tattoo, so they were planning on finishing up the design and then getting the tattoo done that day. She was a super texter, always on her phone, and a very quick responder. Blake was supposed to pick her up at 6, so a little before that, he was texting her for an update. She tells him about the progress, but suddenly stops responding. He calls and she doesn't answer. So he called Shayna, who starts calling and texting with no answer. Later that night, they find out that she never met up with Zach and Addison like she was supposed to. So Blake called Krista just before midnight. She called the cops at 12:09 a.m. and reported Lauren missing. The cops actually took it seriously, so yay. But all they had to go on was Blake's account of things. They knew that Lauren was last seen wearing black, of course, jacket, jeans, shirt, and boots, along with a black collar necklace with a heart locket. They know that she was with Mike West, so they track him down. He surprises them by saying that out of nowhere, Connor showed up at his house. He said that Lauren seemed surprised to see him, but they were at Mike's house. Someone had to tell him where they were. Someone had to tell him how to get there. And I don't think that was Mike. Lauren asked if it was okay to leave and come right back because they're in the middle of a tattoo. Mike's like, whatever you want to do, man. But he waited and she never came back. Connor said that he drove Lauren to Walmart sometime between 1 and 3 p.m. She told him that she would let him know when she was done, but he hadn't heard from her since.
That doesn't make any sense. You don't leave in the middle of getting a tattoo and get dropped off at Walmart and left there.
Right. The cops didn't buy it either.
But I mean, I was getting my back tattooed and I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Taco Bell.
Well, yeah, that's different though.
It was
You're
a
just
little-
running to grab something to eat.
It was a break.
A little break.
Yeah.
A little break. Now, when questioned about him just leaving her there at Walmart, he changed it up. Okay. He didn't leave her there. He took her to a house to get drugs. But since he's against that, when she tried to get back in his car, he kicked her out. He drove around for a while and then worked his shift at the Family Video. Yes, we still have one here, but we had. It shut down in 2021. So they pulled the surveillance footage from Walmart, but they don't see Connor's car at all when he said he dropped her off. Surveillance systems can have blind spots. It can happen, but they don't see Lauren enter or exit the store either. So they update Krista that the last person that she was actually known to be with that day was Connor, and she held nothing back. She let them know that Lauren and Connor were not in a relationship anymore. That's part of the reason she got into it with Lauren that day when Connor dropped her off at the house. Even though Connor was seeing someone else, Krista had to call Connor multiple times to tell him to leave her alone. She had been told by Lauren that Lauren was trying to avoid him, and Krista told the cops about the physical abuse and Connor's drug use. So they started digging into Connor. But also Zach. People had already told the cops that he hadn't handled the divorce very well, and he was not a fan of her new relationship. A lot of those close to them really thought that Lauren would get this out of her system, and then her and Zach would get back together. A few days later, Krista received an anonymous message from a witness who said that they saw bloodstains on the seats and on the floor of Connor's car. He had tried to put seat covers over them, but you could still see them. When the witness asked him what the hell that was, Connor told the witness that he accidentally hit a dog and had to put it in his car to take it to the vet. But there was a lot of blood. Too much blood for an injured dog.
What vet? Where did he take him? What vet did the dog go to?
I'm not a cop.
I'm just saying. These are just questions you ask.
As a friend, you're like, oh yeah, where'd you take him? What'd you do? What'd he say?
What vet was it?
What dog? What did it look like? What was his name? Did it have a collar? That's you. You would be.
I mean.
That's true.
Oh yeah, you hit a dog? What type of dog was it? Where was it bleeding?
Where'd you hit it at?
Where was it bleeding from? What vet did you take it to?
You have no trust in your friends. What's happening?
I'm just saying. I mean.
He didn't think it was weird until he heard that Lauren was missing. And that's why he reported it. So he was there.
Well, I mean, I'm glad they did, but, that sounds like it was, a friend of his.
Had to be a friend of his, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, who's this witness? I'm pretty sure it's that guy. Connor becomes the number one suspect pretty quick. So they look at his history and see that about a year before this, Lauren had called the police due to domestic violence, and Connor had been arrested, and he resisted arrest when they got him. But when she didn't show up to court, the charges were dropped. So they pull him back in to talk to him one more time. And this time he said, okay, I'll tell you the truth. I took Lauren to Walmart to buy syringes. She had tried to get them at Target, but couldn't. In case you are lucky enough not to know this information, you can purchase them at the pharmacy, which is meant for medical necessities like diabetes. But drug users also buy them. You can knock that if you want, but at least they're using clean needles, so I'll leave that there. Connor, of course, was against this. Remember, he's against all the drug use. But he couldn't talk Lauren out of it. She was getting them to use for after she got the tattoo. So he just dropped her off and left. Since they already know that she did not go into that store, they pull his cell phone data and track his movements. And he did go to Walmart that day, but it was at more like 10:30 p.m., not in the middle of the day. Him and his ex, Alexandra, are seen walking in and buying a bunch of cleaning supplies.
So why the fuck do people keep doing this?
I don't know, but I'm kind of glad they do. Something happens, and then all of a sudden, oh, look, you can see him 2 days before buying shovels and duct tape. Or, oh, look, you see them that night buying a bunch of cleaning supplies. Come on, people.
I mean, it's basically, you're drawing a map.
You're like, I did it. I did it.
Yeah. You're drawing a map to my crime.
Yeah, I'm right here, y'all. Come get me.
Oh, I dropped her off at Walmart. And that's probably what his thinking was. He's like, well, if they pull my data, it's going to show that I went to Walmart.
It's going to show I was at Walmart, yeah.
Walmart, but they don't think of the cameras in Walmart.
Apparently not.
Seeing that this girl is walking next to me and checking out with me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Stupid.
So now that they see that he was with Alexandra, they pull her in, talk to her. And I hope they don't offer her any French cake because I heard she doesn't like that.
No.
She said Connor told her that earlier.
Not her thing.
That's not her thing. She said Connor told her that earlier that day, 2 guys were in his car with him when an altercation broke out. One of them was hurt really bad, and Connor took him to the hospital. What a hero. But Alexandra believed the story, she says, and she helped him, kind of, clean the car. I say that because there was a lot left behind. They tested the blood, got DNA from Joe and Krista, and verified that the blood in that car was Lauren's.
So now he was giving them a third story.
Yeah, now he's going on round 3. So this time, he said when he took Lauren to get drugs and she got back in the car, she said she needed help and that they had to go to another location. Now Connor says there were 2 drug dealers in the back seat, and during the buy, something went wrong. Lauren started yelling at the dealers. One of the dealers shot Lauren in the head and then, at gunpoint, made him drive them to dispose the body at a come and go at 51st and Aspen in the dumpster. Now, the cops push back on that. His story never adds up, and it's ever changing. And they tell him, we know something happened between you and her in that car that night. That's what happened, right? Finally, he breaks down and says, yes. He said they got into an argument in the car, and Lauren refused to get out. So he pulled out a gun to scare her. He said the magazine accidentally fell out and the gun went off, and Lauren was shot in the face.
He finally admits it and makes it out to be like an accident.
Yep.
Why am I not surprised?
Oh, because these people cannot take responsibility for any of their actions. Police went to that dumpster, but it wasn't a trash dumpster. It's a recycling bin for cardboard boxes, so it has a small slot instead of a big opening. At this point, the bin had already been emptied, but there was blood there, though, on the outside and inside of the bin, along with a bracelet that they found outside of it that was confirmed to have been Lauren's. They pulled surveillance footage to identify what truck picked that up and track down where it was taken to. There were 30 people sent out to a paper mill in Valiant, Oklahoma, and this is one of 72 sorting points that serve 19 waste recycling enterprises for 16 states. The recycling process is in stages and most of them are automated, so there's nobody there to see what's going on. But this long after she disappeared, it was likely that, sadly, they were looking for pieces of her or trace amounts if her body had already gone through the entire process. They had to bring in cadaver dogs and were able to find some of her bone fragments and skin.
She had already gone through the whole process?
She'd already gone through the process.
Wow.
Yeah. The recycling company recalled more than 30,000 tons of bundles to try to keep any of Lauren's remains from being further processed. Because you have to think, this is recycled cardboard. It's being turned into anything. Amazon boxes, mac and cheese boxes, anything that's cardboard.
Yeah. I mean, like your little frozen dinners and everything, when it has that little green leaf on the deal of it, you know, that's recycled product.
Yeah.
And everything. So
they have to think broad.
Yeah.
And start just like recalling everything.
Yep.
Connor was charged with first-degree murder and desecration of a corpse. He pled not guilty, of course. His geolocations showed him at the Come and Go gas station for 10 minutes. That's when he put her body in the recycling bin. And then he quickly went to an apartment complex where we now know he threw out all of her stuff. And then he went to work at Family Video. He met up with Alexandra at her job, and then they went to Walmart to get the cleaning supplies. And you can see on the camera where she's pushing the cart and he's riding on it like a toddler. So there was no drug house. There were no drug dealers. In court, it came out that he had been seeing another woman while with Lauren. They showed this other woman knew that Lauren and him were in a relationship, even though Lauren didn't know that Connor was in a relationship with the other woman. And she didn't like his relationship with Lauren, so she ended up breaking up with Connor just a couple of days before Lauren was killed. He was texting Alexandra, too, saying Lauren was a parasite who wouldn't leave him alone and that she was wrecking his life. Fucking tool. He was found guilty and sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 38 years and 3 months.
Well, good.
Yeah. So they say that while he was in court, he really thought he was going to get away with it, like all the way up to the end. And don't they all? So poor Addison lost her mom for no reason.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah, this one right here, it's kind of an odd one.
It is an odd one. It's a really sad one.
Because it's like, how big was she? because
She was tiny.
to go into that slot of the recycling bin, you know what I mean?
Well,
It's just
it wasn't a tiny one because it's made for boxes, but it doesn't have the big opening like you would see on a dumpster, like the
Yeah.
whole top comes
but it's
off.
like when the recycling, if there was blood on the front of it and blood around it,
Yeah, there was smudges of blood everywhere.
how does the recycling company not see that?
Yeah, here's the...
That is a thin ass.
Yeah, that's the actual bin. So there's a door on the side, but I'm pretty sure they said that was locked, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's a small slot.
How the hell did she fit the hell? Most people's heads can't get through that.
I don't know. Unless they just didn't have it locked and he was able to open that side to get her in.
Had to been.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Well, anyway, that is the end of this one. You guys comment and let us know what you guys think. And let us know if you guys like French pastries.
Yeah, what's wrong with a French pastry?
French cakes.
Yeah,
Anyway.
people put a lot of work into that.
Alexandria has something against them. Anyway, till next time, guys.
Bye.